Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Just recently I decided to do a little poll to help decide which was going to be the next SH Figuarts Ultraman review. The options were Ultraman Tiga, Ultraman Z base form, and Ultraman Trigger, as well as the SH Figuarts Golza, and surprising no one, it looks like Golza won out. Of course Golza is going to win out. We don't get many Ultra Kaiju releases in the SH Figuarts line, unfortunately. And well, looks like since that's the winner of the poll, we're going to be reviewing him today for the channel. Now, I apologize for last week's lack of videos on this channel. However, on the ScorpioCesar arcade, if you haven't checked out my recent video on there regarding my updated Sega Saturn collection, well, it's here popping up on the top right hand corner of your screen. I would love to get your support on there. If you could hit the like button and maybe share your thoughts on that video when you get the chance. Of course, it's not necessary, but it always does help me out. So anyways, yes, on to the SH Figuarts Golza. Now, we always hit up with the presentation and details first, so we're going to start off with the good here. We don't always get an SH Figuarts Ultra Kaiju release, and when they do come, unfortunately there's always a hard time getting them, and they do skyrocket in price on the aftermarket, especially with Ultraman becoming more popular overseas, especially recently now. That being said, this one wasn't too hard to get. I was made aware that it was available on HobbyLink Japan, and I pre-ordered him on there. Thankfully, you can still find them on aftermarket retail sites for close to MSRP, which was around $85 after shipping and handling, you know, from overseas Japan. And well, let's talk about whether or not this is worth adding to your Ultraman Figuarts collection. And yeah, I'm gonna go out and say, I really like this figure. However, there are some things about it that I do not like, and we've pretty much already touched up on some of those things. So first off, that the building has a life of its own. It decided to fall. Thanks a lot, Mr. Building. And first off, I gotta say, Tamashii Nations did a absolutely bang-up job with this one. There are so many details here in the actual sculpt of Golza. Golza is a very complicated looking beast, isn't he? He's very clunky in spots, and I feel that Tamashii Nations did him justice. And they did a great job getting all those little details out there now. Now, let me just get this out of the way. If people are saying that the Ultra Act version was their, preferred choice, then that's great for you. I unfortunately never owned that version, so I cannot compare them. Anyways, moving on to the rest of the figure. When you look at his face, you'll notice that his eyes are a little wonky when looked up straight ahead. However, it doesn't help the fact that his bottom jaw is on one of those ball joint things, so you can get him to kind of look even more ridiculous if you want. But yeah, thankfully, from looking at the sides, he can either look kind of dumbfounded or he can look a little more intimidating, especially how you maneuver that mouth. Everybody's paint jobs on the eyes are going to be a little different because that's never something that is ever going to be consistent in this line. The head has a very nice carapace design. I don't know how you describe this guy. All I can say is that he looks like a watermelon, especially around the face area. Moving down the armor on his chest and shoulders, it's got a really nice crack design here with that cream color and a gradient into kind of like a bluish grayish color. And everything here looks nice, man. Like, I gotta say, Tamashii Nations really did surprise me with some of the details on this guy. Some things you would think would get lost on the translation. Then again, I gotta say, they've been doing such a great job with these Ultra Kaiju releases that it's a shame that they don't release more of them. And I like how the rest of his body is that darker blue color with those little silver, I don't know what they are, bumps, those warts around his body. He's a very warty looking kaiju. His nails and claws are painted decently enough, especially around the feet area. And yeah, everything here looks good. He looks great. Golza looks fantastic. Now it's on to the tail. The tail also looks pretty good. The one thing I gotta say about this material that they decided to go with instead of having a ball jointed tail, and we'll get more detail about the articulation when we get to that section. Actually, let's move on to the articulation section now, starting with the tail, because that is the biggest point of contention with this figure for a lot of people, and it's a pretty big talking point for me as well. I like the whole rubbery look that it has because it does emulate the look of the suit more than a segmented ball jointed tail would. And it is a nice material too because it's nice and squishy. Especially around the base, it's kind of soft. However, the unfortunate thing being is that you lose out with a lot of articulation when it comes to not having a ball jointed segmented tail. And this is something that's worrying a lot of people in the kaiju collecting community, because if it ain't broke, why change it? You know what I mean? So I don't know why Tamashii Nations decided to do this, and they did. They decided to choose a bendy wire style tail, which hardly functions because of the tail's rubber being so thick around here. The bendy wire, if there even is one at this point in the tail towards the base, it barely functions the way it should. So the most you can probably do with the tail is to get it to stand up like this. However, if you try to straighten it out, you can straighten it out too. Notice that there's a segment here towards the tip of the tail that's just more of that soft rubbery weird plastic. I don't know why they decided to do that as a separate piece. It's weird, but you can get the tail to go straight for the most part, and you can get it to bend up forward a little bit, but trying to get this tail, and it does rotate at the base but very slightly. However, if you try to get this tail to move to the side at all, good luck. It's not going to really happen. So yeah, that's unfortunate that the articulation is gimped when it comes to the tail, because Tamashii Nations for whatever reason decided to do that instead of the tried and true formula of articulated engineering tails. Hopefully that's not a sign of things to come in the future. Hopefully that's just an experiment that they were doing. Anyways, let's move on to the rest of the articulation. The head can move around at the neck, thankfully. A good amount of articulation with that head. The head is also split up into different segments too. So there's a middle section here around the head, and then there's the top portion of the head where that little horn is. So yeah, he can get do that, and his mouth opens up a really good amount, so that's always good once again. And you can close that mouth as well, get him looking a little derpy here. So yeah, good articulation there. As for the arms can come out a good amount, and they can rotate all the way around, so that's good articulation. You got some rotation here at the shoulders, underneath those little shoulder pads. The arms do bend at the elbow as well. However, you will have to mess around with the sculpt a little bit because it does kind of hinder some of that articulation, but for the most part it does what it needs to do. And there's swivel hinge at the wrist with those ball joints as well. The abdomen area, very good articulation here. You can get him to turn quite a bit. You can get him to even stand up pretty straight and erect, which is great in case you want him to look at some of those gut swings or something flying by, or even Ultraman flying by. And you can actually get him to bend forward a good amount, which is awesome. Look at this, some great bend for kaiju. So yeah, lots of great articulation with this guy, and even the feet, even the legs have a great range of movement here. Bend at the knee, lots of segments there, and yeah, great articulation for the foot as well. This guy can move and groove like the rest of them. It's just unfortunate that he's hampered a bit by his tail. But other than that, in terms of articulation, Ultra Mantiga's Golza is a pretty good release in terms of engineering, except of course for that tail. Now, does Golza come with any accessories whatsoever? No, he doesn't. Now on to some size comparisons. Here we have Golza with the SH Figuarts Sinchoho Seiho, I said it wrong, Ultraman Tiga, and the SH Figuarts Ultraman Trigger. Here we have him next to the SH Monster Arts 1995 Gamera and the SH Monster Arts Kong. Here he is next to the Ultraman Geed Magnificent, as well as the Ultraman Belial Atrocious. Here he is next to the 1995 Birth version SH Monster Arts Godzilla, as well as the SH Monster Arts Godzilla vs. Kong Godzilla 2021. Yeah, I have him in a dynamic pose because it's cool and I want to change it. And here he is with the SH Figuarts Black King and Gamora. And here he is next to the Bandai Vinyl Golza. Alright, so final verdict time. You know what? I gotta be honest with you all. Personally, I think that the SH Figuarts Golza is a solid release and another great addition to the SH Figuarts Ultraman line. Yes, I know that the tail articulation being what it is and a departure from the usual segmented articulated tails of the past, I think it's more of a worrying trend that may move forward with this line that I hope doesn't come to be with future releases. I hope they learn from their mistakes with this release, take in the feedback from all of the collectors that, purchased one of these, go back to the drawing board and realize, hey, we want the ball jointed tails, because let's face it, that's what gives us the most articulation and gives us the best options when it comes to posing these guys. So yeah, aside from the tail articulation and the lack of accessories, do I feel that Golza is worth around the $50 price range that the MSRP was? Yes, absolutely. It's still a solid figure overall, with the rest of the body being fantastically engineered and beautifully sculpted. So overall, it ticks all the boxes for me, aside from, once again, that tail and of course the lack of accessories. That being said, if you find him for a decent price, I definitely suggest you jump on him now. Otherwise, you're going to be at the mercy of the aftermarket in the future, and you know how that ends up being. So yeah, definitely pick up Golza now when you get the chance. However, if you own the Ultra Act version of Golza, then you might just want to stick with that one. There's not much too different here that, well, at least from what I can tell, that warrants another purchase. However, if you want something more in scale with your Figuarts Ultramans, go for this one. Anyways, that's it for this review. I hope it was enjoyable, informative, and helpful for all of you. If it was, remember, collect everything, connect everything, and I'll see you all again in the future. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed and would like to see more videos like this, hitting the like button, sharing the video, commenting, and subscribing will help us defeat the evil algorithm. And if you enjoy video games, I have a dedicated channel just for that, so I hope to see you there.